What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets and Rob. How is everybody doing? As the New York Mets return after their day off to finish up their homestand against the Colorado Rockies, as they won the last two series at home against the Dodgers and the White Sox, they look to finish up a very strong homestand and then head to LA and on the road trip right after this series against the Rockies. So, guys, what do the Mets have to do to continue to win and to continue to be successful as they have been for the first 55 plus games of the season? Well, it's just very simple, guys. It's the fact that they find ways to continue to win. The runners in scoring position have been an issue the entire year. If you look at all of the numbers throughout the lineup, the roster, they have not been good with runners in scoring position. One of the worst in the league with runners in scoring position. Will that change? Well, you just hope. You look at these guys back of the baseball cards, and eventually they will get started. And that's what we're all hoping for as Met fans, as the New York Mets continue their games into the end of May, into the beginning of June, and that's where you'll hope they're going to start getting it together, because they all have been terrible with runners in scoring position. Hopefully that will change soon, because the pitching has been what has been driving this team all season. The rotation, the bullpen, they've been carrying this team from the beginning of the season until right now, as they finish up the month of May at home against the Rockies. This is what the New York Mets need to continue to do, to continue to get better, continue to stack those wins, and they have a great opportunity to do that against the worst team in baseball, possibly the worst team in the history of baseball, in the Colorado Rockies, that are on course to win 27 games in the 2025 season. And that's just, remarkable to think about, considering the fact that last year the White Sox beat the Mets record all those years ago. And that is something that you wouldn't think would have back-to-back years of that type of season, but here we are in 2025. But the New York Mets, they have to take full advantage of the worst team in baseball here. They took 2 out of 3 against the White Sox. The White Sox are terrible, but you can't win them all. And it was frustrating. It was a frustrating game. The game time got changed. Is no excuse for the New York Mets, because the White Sox had to deal with the same thing, but they did lose the finale of that series, but were able to take 2 out of 3 and win another series and continue their dominance at home. So what do the Mets have to do against the Colorado Rockies? Limit the mistakes. It's just that simple. I don't care if you're playing the Rockies. I don't care if you're playing the Braves, the Yankees, the Nationals. It doesn't matter. Good teams, bad teams, great teams. You have to limit the mistakes, because at the end of the day, they are still a major league team, very close to a minor league team, but they are still a major league team. The New York Mets need to limit those mistakes. That has been a big problem. If it's not turning double plays, if it's making a crucial error, a bad throw to the wrong base that can advance runners, it's a lot of little things that can cause a team to lose that shouldn't lose against a very inferior team in the Colorado Rockies. The New York Mets have to limit their mistakes. Now, when we talk about defense, that's what they have to do. Limit the mistakes. The starting pitching, the bullpen, they have to continue to do what they've done all season. Continue to be damn good. They've been outstanding at home. All the numbers that they have put together at home, the pitching with the bullpen and the rotation has been outstanding. They got to continue to do that, and we'll see if they continue to do that, because at some point we have to have this offense step up and start carrying the pitching a little bit. Because at some point, I do believe that this pitching, specifically the starting pitching, is not going to be as good as it's been for the first 2 months of the season. I truly believe that. I think some of these guys are going to come down to earth. Not saying that Griffin Cannon's going to be a shell of himself that he was this year and be what he was the last couple of years in the Angels, or Clay Holmes, realizing that he's a starter and it's going to come back to haunt them later in the year, in the months when the innings start to pile up, or Kodai Senga, who hasn't pitched more than 7 innings since 2023. That is concerning in my area of thinking when it comes to the Mets pitching. The pitching lab can't set up pitchers for, well, you're going to throw this many innings and you have to be good while throwing 150 plus innings. That is something that is going to be concerning. The Mets will be going to a 6-man rotation very, very shortly. It looks like Paul Blackburn is going to be a part of this rotation very, very shortly. And we know Manaea is making rehab starts now, so he might be back in a couple of weeks. Manaea might be at the end of June. There's a real possibility that this rotation could look a lot different at the end of June with Montas and and Manaea coming back to this rotation. But it looks like the Mets will be going to a 6-man rotation. Paul Blackburn will be the first one up to add to this rotation. And again, a professional starter is not going to wow you, is going to give you your innings, but he's probably going to go 4 or 5 innings. 2, 3, 4 runs is what you should be expecting from a guy like this, and it all evolves and revolves around the 6-man rotation, protecting innings for Kodai Senga, Clay Holmes, and others. Let's be quite honest about that. Clay Holmes hasn't thrown more than 90 innings. Kodai Senga hasn't thrown more than 100 innings since 2023 in his first season with the New York Mets. And you really don't know where you're going to get from David Peterson coming off of his surgery last year, even though he did pitch a ton of innings last year. Can he do it again the following season coming off that hip surgery, and can he still be good, right? You could throw him out there. Doesn't mean they're going to be good. So each one of these guys can throw 150 plus innings, but if they're not good, well, you kind of got a bunch of average pitchers at best. And I do believe that they're going to take a step back, not a terrible step back where you're like, oh my God, they're reverting to what they were and what we thought they would be prior to the season. But I think they're going to take a little step back, and that's when the offense needs to step up. And when's a better time than one of the worst pitching rotations in baseball in the Colorado Rockies? I mean, they have 9 wins, guys. 9 wins, 1-9 in their last 10. They are not a very good team at all. You got to take full advantage of it. You really do. Freeland, Senzatella, Palmquist, they're not very good pitchers, right? Freeland was at some point, but not right now. Overall, the New York Mets got to dominate this series, specifically offensively. We need Lindor to step up. We need Pete Alonso to step up. We need Juan Soto to step up. Brandon Nimmo has looking a little bit better since we moved into the 2-hole, so that might be a mainstay for a little while. But we need the big boys to step up. The big money makers need to step up, and it's Lindor, Soto, Alonso. Specifically, Juan Soto. He needs to get out of whatever malaise, whatever funk, whatever depression that he's dealing with. He needs to wake up, look at his bank account, and realize how much money he's making and how much this team needs him to step up. You can't bat 220. You can't have 8 home runs and 20-something RBIs and feel good about yourself. Like, let's go. You got to start getting together. It's 2 months into the season. And again, we dealt with this last year, guys. We all forget because the Mets were one of the best teams in baseball from June until the end of the season last year, but they were one of the worst offenses in baseball last year, and you got a lot of the same guys. Besides Juan Soto, you still got Lindor, you still got Pete Alonso, you still got Brandon Nimmo, you still got Mark Vientos, you got Alvarez, you got McNeil. There's a lot of the same bunch of characters here in this lineup, and we're all shocked that they're doing the exact same thing that they've done the last couple of seasons when it comes to offensive numbers and runners in scoring position in particular. It's been Lindor, it's been Alonso, it's been Nimmo, Alvarez, Vientos, McNeil. It's been all of those guys that have been consistent in this lineup for years now, and it's still been the same issue with runners in scoring position. Adding Juan Soto, you hope that he would have, bumped it up a little bit, but he's acting just like these other guys that have been doing it for years. Now, I do think they're all going to turn around because the back of the baseball card said so. They're not all 36, 37 years old where they're breaking down here. They're all in their prime of their careers. They need to all step up now and start getting it together. You get into the games now where you're playing a lot better teams. When you get into June, you're going to see the Phillies. You're going to see the Dodgers again. You're going to see the Braves. You're going to see a lot of good teams in June. Couple of division teams that you're going to be facing a lot over the next couple of months, and teams that you got to beat to win this division. And that's what the Mets have to do. And they're not going to do it for the entirety of the season by continuing to lean on the starting pitchers and the bullpen. Now, the bullpen still might be very good, but again, I'm still skeptical with this rotation. I don't know how long they're going to be extremely good when they start hitting their inning plateaus and innings that they have not gone past before or haven't done in a while. That concerns me with the New York Mets pitching. But right now, you got to give them a ton of credit. And hopefully they can hold on until this offense figures out. So the pitching matchups for the Colorado Rockies and David Peterson that starts tonight, the 3-game series to finish up the homestand before the Mets hit the road to California. David Peterson tonight against Kyle Freeland. You got Senga Sandatella. And to finish up the series, you got Holmes and Palmquist to end the homestand for the New York Mets. The Mets got to dominate this series. 2 is very much at a minimum, but we should all be thinking about a sweep here. We need to win a series at the very least. I mean, it's unacceptable if you don't win this series, but a sweep against one of the worst teams ever in baseball history, there is no excuses. I don't care if it's the offense. I don't care if it's the pitching. Win these 3 games so you can start going on the road and feel the confidence that you continue to have. 3 more wins here makes you 37-22. That would be 15 games over 500. The New York Mets need to continue their winning ways at home, which they have done all season. They've been dominant at home, and they need to sweep this series against the Colorado Rockies. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.